there, it's Sunday morning and I didn't release a video this morning, but that's not actually true. I did release a video, except it's on my two support channels, Patreon and Locals, and I want to talk about that first. I decided to make a change in the way I do things. This is really limited to the bigger projects that I'm going to be doing. And for the most part, that's what it's going to be from here on out. Bigger projects, full build videos. And I'm going to limit the number of smaller projects that I do, unless I can think of something really interesting or it's something that I actually need. Like the router stuff that I've been doing, the new base plate for it, the round one. That's what I really should have done from the beginning. So I did it. And also the circle jig that works with that. But from here on out, and I talked about this before, I'm slowing things down, and the goal is to make, concentrate on the things that I need, bigger projects usually. The only problem with the bigger projects is that it's quite a load on me when it comes time to edit it. You come out here, you're gung-ho for the project, you're pretty much in the groove for filming. That all comes out automatic for me at this point. I'm filming, I'm working, all's happening at the same time. And day after day after day, I mean, a bigger project, something like that drill press, I mean, it could take as much as a week or more to finish, right? So you get every day all these clips piling up for the video, and then comes time to edit it, you've forgotten half of it, or at least I have. My memory's not that golden anymore. So yeah, it's a struggle to remember where everything is and what I need to include. So when I sit down to edit it, I'm dreading sitting down to editing it. So this new plan is to take a day, right, a build day, film that, edit it, usually the next morning, and then put that video, make a complete video, right? A shorter one. It'd be a segment of the full build video. Okay, take that shorter video and upload it to Patreon and Locals. For my supporters, I'm there to watch. All right, so that'll be my motivation to do that. And then when it comes time to edit and post the full build video, all I need to do is take these individual segments, stitch them together, maybe shorten some things, do some fine tuning. Like all the voiceover will already be there. So yeah, quite a lot easier than, sitting down at the end of a big project to try to edit the whole thing. So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing and you want to support the channel, what I'm doing here, that's the best way to do it. Go to, other than buying plans, you can buy plans as well. But a lot of guys are already on Patreon, maybe on Locals, so you can just sign up there and you'll have access to the stuff that I'm putting out. Yeah. So that's the big change that's happening, the big one. And I'm going to stick with it because I've been working on the drill press basically all week. I've made 3 videos. I've got 3 videos released on both of those platforms, and they're each around 3 minutes long, and they cover the build up until over the halfway point. So I probably got another 2, maybe 3 videos left to release on this, and then I'll be moving on to the next project. And at this point, I think that's going to be my kitchen island, because I took the time the other day to sit down and do some more drawing of it. I drew the top before, a rough idea for the top, because that's what this chair is for. And then I moved on to the base because that was always kind of a question mark. And so I looked through Google Images, try to find some ideas, and I came up with something that's kind of classic, but matches the rest of the kitchen. It'll be made with maple and maple plywood, very much like the rest of the kitchen. So yeah, that's what's coming up next. I do believe. I don't like to make promises, but I'm like 80% on that one. I guess you could say that part 2 of the video is about CNC. And the question is whether you should get one. or whether I would buy one now. As you know, I have this one here. This is Stepcraft. I don't like to say they gave it to me because the expectation is that I'll use it and I'll show it in videos, and I've done that. So it's kind of an advertising quid pro quo type deal. But I think at this point, after my experience with this, I definitely would buy a CNC. I've been using it quite a lot on the drill press thing here. And that's not to say that I couldn't do it without it, because I certainly could make all the parts that I've made so far, like use this to make, such as, you know, this hand wheel and this thing here with a nut put in it, and another hand wheel with this, what is this? Spur gear that engages with that rack. I could do all that, you know, with a router or with the bandsaw, or even with a jigsaw, and then, you know, a lot of sanding and stuff. But while this is running, cutting these beautiful things, you know, I can do other things. And plus, yeah, it makes good looking parts. I mean, look at this. Imagine trying to cut this thing out, you know, with a jigsaw or with even on the bandsaw and get it this nice. And then when I made this thing here to put the nut in, the nut just dropped right in. It was such a perfect fit. I just finished cutting this thing out here. And actually, here's an example of doing something by hand. I had to route out the center to put this thing in, because I made this thing yesterday with the spur gear glued in. And I discovered that I don't have enough clearance. So I had to route out a 1/2 inch and sink this in. I did that by hand. All right. So yeah, CNC, I definitely would buy one if I have my time back, now that I have some experience with it. Okay. For many, like the first CNC I got was that Shapeoko one back, I don't know, 2015 maybe. Still in the shop, but, you know, pretty much, you know, not that long after I moved here, which is 10 years ago, by the way. And that didn't impress me at all. Like, I couldn't do anything on that thing. But this is different. I mean, if you're going to go CNC, you got to spend a few bucks. It's the same old story. You get what you pay for, right? Unless you're going to build something yourself, and then you've got total control over it. You're probably going to spend quite a bit of money anyway, but you're going to have something that you know inside and out. Like, you build a bandsaw, if it breaks, you can fix it. Everything you build yourself, you're in that unique position to be able to fix it if something goes wrong, right? So you can't sit there saying, oh, well, what if this happens, and what if that happens, this happens, you fix it, right? So my table saw over there, built that how many years ago? 3 years ago, maybe now. A couple of things broke on it, and I fixed them. The table saw was down for a matter of hours. That's it. You fix things. If you built it, you can fix it. And having something like this available and being adept at using it, designing the parts, the ones you want, and getting this thing to cut it, yeah, big time saver, really amps up the quality of your work as well.
It's an old-fashioned way of looking at the sexes. Not to say that there's no real difference between them. Physically, men are bigger, stronger in the upper body. We have different sexual organs. Men can't bear young.
And what about feelings or emotional attitudes? Are they different?
Most people think so.